Hey, what's up everybody? Esam here bringing you another video. This one going to be my report on the PGR, this one's starting with Area 51. Area 51 is, for those of you that aren't aware, the kind of zone of, oh, we barely just didn't get on the PGR, and I will link down to the official PGR article down below, so please go check that out before you're watching this, because this is going to be like my opinion of it pretty much, because I'm not going to be like, look at all these facts and that's it. So it's going to be more so my opinion of the players and things like that. So it's going to be 5 players. They're all not ordered. So the person I say first and 5th and 4th, like everyone that I'm saying is tied. There is no statistical significance between any of the players. So that's very important, because it's not like the person I say last is 51st and the person I say first is 55th. They're all just in this area of Area 51. So anyway, the first person I'm going to talk about is Eon, the Fox main from SoCal. I've mentioned him a few times on my stream about how he's really good. He's one of the best Foxes, probably top 5 Fox, or maybe 6th at worst. And I think he's very, very good. However, he pretty much just only stays in SoCal. Whereas let's say his counterpart Charlie the King at least has traveled a few times, has gone to 2 Out to Handle, gone to GTX, but Eon pretty much only goes to 2GGs, and while he's done decent, he hasn't done particularly well. He's very fast. He could have done a little bit better, you know, he could have maybe been on the PGR had he made it into the championship bracket at 2GGC, but he lost to both Cosmos and Elegant, getting 3rd, which, like, those are very respectable losses. So there's nothing really to be ashamed of, especially considering, you know, Elegant beat Larry that tournament and Cosmos has done very, very well versus a lot of Fox mains. So it's not really like the worst losses possible, but he was just slightly too short and didn't go to enough to kind of compensate for it, so that he wasn't getting like multiple 13ths or 9ths or 17ths. He kind of got like 3 or whatever it was. But Eon, honestly, a very impressive player. I really like his style because it's not quite campy and it's not quite aggressive, and he's very good at turning off and on what he wants to do, which with a character as fast as Fox, you heard me talk about that in my tier list, is very, very scary, because then he's able to bait people, he's able to condition people, he's able to do a lot of things. He's just very, very young still, and so maybe 100% doesn't notice everything he's doing to people, but I feel like with time and with travel, this kid will become absolutely amazing. Definitely deserves to be on the PGR, but he hasn't traveled enough, and so he's going to just get shy of it with Area 51. Next up is going to be someone kind of in the same vein as him, which is going to be Stroder. So Stroder is the Greninja that most notably, you know, he took out Nairo at, I think it was, I don't remember which saga it was, it might have been like West Side Saga or something, where he beat Nairo 2-0, so that was kind of crazy. But other than that, he's kind of just getting good results. He plays Greninja, so it's kind of awkward. It makes it difficult for him to necessarily, like, sometimes win versus some of the top tiers. He always does, like, good results. Like, you never think, you know, like, wow, I can't believe Stroder got 9th, because he doesn't quite make it that far, but at the same time, you get, like, he gets like 25th or 17th at like the 2GGs he goes to, and obviously his Arizona like regionals and stuff he does very well, and you just go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you're never too surprised that he does either particularly well or poorly, again, other than the win on Nairo, which was like, oh, whoa, that's crazy. Although, you know, I kind of know that like Greninja does relatively well versus Zero Suit, but either way, like, it's still a very impressive player. Again, similar to Eon, very good at turning things on and off. I feel like, again, if he traveled more, he would be more eligible, because he would just be able to get like 2 or 3 more big wins, because he's definitely capable of it, because he's an amazing player, but unfortunately didn't go to enough to get those big wins, and so unfortunately he is going to dip down right into this Area 51. This next player is a common household name at this point, but unfortunately it is not for his singles performances, and that is going to be Javi. So obviously most notable, is very, very good at doubles, especially with MK Leo. He has crazy doubles results. You always see him in top 8 of doubles pretty much all the time, but unfortunately he had one too few performances this PGR season, because what happens in this PGR season is there were so many S tiers, right? There were so many really important and notable tournaments that it kind of lessened how important every single one of them were. And then at the same time, if the S tiers are like slightly less valuable because the points of this season were so heavily inflated, that it means that the lower tier tournaments like A, B, and C tiers pretty much didn't mean as much as they ordinarily would, at least in the previous PGR season. So even though he had a really good performance at, let's say, DreamHack Denver, where he beat Abadongo and got 4th, you know, it mattered less than, let's say, someone's 9th place at an S tier, obviously, but again, he didn't exactly have those results in singles. He was always good, got like 17th, 25th, 33rd. I think Javi's an amazing player. You know, his Sheik is incredibly solid, his Cloud, very, very clutch. If you watched this set versus Abadongo, you saw exactly how clutch that Cloud was, beating both the Mewtwo and the Bayo, so it's not like he was just beating like a lol easy matchup. So Javi, really, really good player. Traveled a decent amount, but didn't travel quite enough to really get all those wins, because, you know, again, similar to the other players, you know, are capable of them, although he did travel more than those players, but again, he's mostly focusing on doubles because that's his thing, right? That's where he wins his money, that's where he gets his notoriety, is, you know, teaming with Leo and things like that, and so I understand that he's focusing on that, but, you know, unfortunately it did feel like singles, at least this season, was more of a back burner for for him than last season, because he was on the PGR last season, but he's going to dip right into the Area 51. Again, incredibly impressive player to me. I really, really respect him, but just going to be slightly too weak. Probably the most popular person in this Area 51 is going to be the recently picked up by Circa Ryu main, and that is going to be Locust. So Locust went to so many events. He is the exact opposite of pretty much every player that I've talked about before, where it's like, okay, well, they didn't really go to enough, but they still had good wins, where Locust went to everything and was just okay. You know, last season he was top, what was it, 22, 23, something like that. I don't remember the spot. He was top 25 for sure. You know, he was doing well, but I feel like there was a few reasons that he dropped off, because obviously he didn't really get that many PGR wins. He didn't place, I think, higher than top 16 once or twice maybe. But again, as I mentioned, there were so many tournaments that you needed to do it consistently or get really, really good wins to compensate for bad placements. And he kind of didn't have either. He was just like the barrier. But there are a few reasons, in my opinion, that he started dropping off a little bit, which was one, people are kind of figuring out Ryu a little bit, because he kind of came into the scene. He played very differently than a lot of the other Ryu, such as Trellis, such as Dark Shad. So he was very much more so aggressive. He would land with Nair in people's faces. He would condition people and punish them with like raw Shoryus and things like that. But then people kind of got used to it, so it stopped working as much. And two, I feel like he's not focusing on the game as much, which was totally fine, because you know, he spends a lot of time with his girlfriend B, and they're lovely, and I love them. So this isn't like a shot at them. It's just kind of like a, you know, if you're like, he used to spend a lot of time playing Smash and studying Smash and doing this, and now like he has other priorities, which is again totally fine. You know, it's kind of like why I dropped off between season 1 and season 2, is like I had less people to play, and you know, I wasn't playing as much other than my stream, because I was focusing on, you know, finishing school, on content creation, because it was when I just started doing so, and like streaming and everything. And so it's kind of hard to balance it all, and so I feel like Locust will definitely bounce back. You know, he probably has to like figure out a few little things with his playstyle, because again, people kind of figuring him out. Like, he lost to a lot of people. Like, there was a lot of times where you'd be looking at a tournament and be like, Locust lost to that person? Huh, that's interesting. Like, that happened a lot, and so, you know, he wasn't really beating people he wasn't supposed to, but he was losing to a lot of people he wasn't supposed to lose to. That's kind of the main reason why he's Area 51, because even though he went to like so many events, like significantly more than every player in the Area 51, he just didn't do well enough at any of them to really kick him into the top 50. And lastly, in the Area 51, we are going to have one of the most shocking players, and that is going to be Latai. And why I say shocking is because obviously we had that crazy thing with Civil War where he beat Zero, Game 5 with a crazy comeback ladder combo on Dreamland. So Latai, similar to the first two, kind of went to some events. Like, he went, like, the only two events I can really remember was he went to SmashCon and he got like 25th or 17th, which is pretty good. And then he went to Leo Saga, and those were the only two events I can personally remember him going to. I'm sure he went to more like C tiers, B tiers, things like that. He beat Cosmos at Leo Saga, and just, you know, he had a few wins under his belt. So I mean, you have two Arizona reps on the Area 51, but again, you know, I remember talking to him at Leo Saga, and he's like, yeah, you know, I don't have enough time to travel because I'm focusing on school, so I don't really have the time to travel or practice the way I want to. I have Wi-Fi a little bit, but it's not quite what I need to do, and so he's kind of just like staying at the level. But I mean, he obviously went up, because even when he had the crazy win on Zero at Civil War, like, he wasn't in Area 51. So he's obviously getting better, and he's doing more consistently, and he's not losing to people he's not supposed to. Like, I mean, he lost like Captain L at Leo Saga, and then someone really good in Losers, but like Pikachu Series is a hard matchup, so that's understandable. And you know, it's just, it's been very difficult just in general to get good this season, because there are so many good players, and you'll see that once we get into the PGR. Oh my god, the players that are on it are absolutely, like, there's so many good players. You think, wow, like, this PGR is like so incredibly stacked, it's actually insane. But so these Area 51 players, again, they're not necessarily bad, obviously. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of competitors, so they're still, even in Area 51, in the top 1% of players. So they're still very scary. Obviously, they can all have crazy upsets, because you've seen all of them individually do crazy things in tournament, and so definitely do not sleep on them. But this is going to be the prequel to the PGR, so make sure you subscribe to the Panda Global YouTube channel, because they're obviously going to be uploading all those videos. Make sure to stay tuned for my analysis of things like that, because again, I'll kind of just be giving my opinion similar to this, less official, things like that. And yeah, I mean, I hope you all enjoyed the video, because that's going to be about it. As always, social media, Panda and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time. Oh, bye-bye.